The story kicks off in Japan, a place crawling with over 200,000 badass ninjas who look like regular Joes on the outside but are actually living super dangerous lives. One of those ninjas is Suzuki, a low ranker who works as a magazine editor to blend in. One day, a cryptic message hits her phone. She quickly ditches her writer and heads for a bridge. There, she spots a Russian guy who's notorious for hunting ninjas, and her mission is to take him out. The dude unloads on Suzuki with a gun, but she dodges it and strikes back with her heel, which instantly turns into two sharp daggers. He barely dodges and keeps shooting, but she deflects the bullets, hurls some ninja stars at him, and then lands a killer kick to his jewels from behind. But this guy won't go down. He even shrugs off a hit from her electric stick and slams her to the ground. From a distance, another ninja, a high ranker named Kato, is watching the whole thing go down. Just as he's about to shoot the guy, a toothpick hits his arm out of nowhere. He turns around to see another guy running toward him. This is Kuro, a ninja who takes out the Russian guy in a flash with a chokehold, ending the fight. He tells Suzuki he's leaving and that she can handle the rest. Suzuki's jaw drops. What a weird dude, she thinks. Why would you let someone else take the credit? Kuro just shrugs and says, I'm not doing all that extra work. I'm going home to sleep. This guy is a great ninja, but he's also lazy as heck. He lives in a cheap, rundown apartment where he spends his time blowing on toothpicks practicing his aim. Suddenly, Kato pops into his room without a sound, here to give him a mission. After World War II, a bunch of rogue ninjas teamed up to form a dangerous crew called the Underground Ninjas. Intelligence says they've taken over Zone High School, which happens to be built right on the old, ruined Naitano Military School, a place full of old war secrets. Kuro's mission is to go undercover and figure out their plan. To help him out, Kato gives him a special suit that can make him vanish, but only his upper body. While he's messing around with the suit, he hears his friend calling from the bathroom asking for toilet paper. It's way across the room. She warns him not to look at her or she'll beat him up. Kuro, a good friend, climbs the wall to avoid looking at her and grabs the roll. But then he turns around to hand it to her and gets smacked in the face with a slipper. The next morning, Kuro shows up at Zone High School. He's totally bummed when he finds out he has to take an entrance exam. For a second, he just wants to give up and ditch the mission. But then he gets scared of Kato, so he starts scheming on how to pass this test. With his tired but cute face, he quickly catches the eye of Noguchi, a student who's retaking the exam. Kuro slides into the classroom and, keeping his head down, makes a circle around the room before sitting next to her. He figures the organization must have a plan for him to pass. Turns out they had the answer key spelled out on the floor with different colored rice grains. Just as Kuro starts writing down the answers, Noguchi freaks out, thinking the rice grains are some kind of bugs. The teacher tells her to sweep them up if they bother her. Kuro knows he has to act fast. He drops his eraser, and while picking it up, he grabs a paper ball and shoots it at Noguchi with a straw. She screams that someone touched her and even calls the teacher a dirty old man. But the teacher just says he doesn't have arms that long. While they're arguing, Kuro quickly starts filling in his answers. But before he can even get to the math section, the teacher walks over to Noguchi and steps on the rice grains, scattering them. With no other choice, Kuro fakes it and just pees his pants right there, bursting into tears. He sobs that he was so nervous for the exam that he drank too much water. The teacher, feeling bad, calms him down and tells him not to worry. The exam is just for show, and he'll pass even if he leaves the sheet blank. Wanting to get some intel on the school, Kuro waits for Noguchi and they walk home together. When they get to his place, he tells her to come over to his poor little home sometime. She hesitates but agrees, and they end up on his rooftop. Noguchi tells him that some bullies at school might give him a hard time. She says her friend Ida was bullied so bad he stopped coming to class. She also reveals that there are secret tunnels under the school that lead to a special military base from World War II. Kuro immediately realizes that the underground ninja group might be hiding in that base. As the sun starts to set, Noguchi says she has to go, but then she slips and falls off the roof. Before she hits the ground, Kuro leaps after her and catches her. When they hit the ground, his special suit activates a safety feature and turns into a cushion. A screaming Noguchi passes out, and Kuro takes her home. Later that night, some creep is flying a drone outside his friend Kawato's bathroom. Little does he know that Kuro is sitting there in his invisible suit. He zaps the guy with his electric stick. Turns out, the creep is Noguchi's friend, Ida. Kuro makes him apologize to Kawato, and then takes him to school the next day, telling him not to be scared because he's got his back, but for a price, 500 yen a day. At school, the bullies immediately start messing with Ida again, but this time they picked the wrong day because Kuro's there. Kuro trips Ida and makes him land on one of the bullies, who starts screaming in pain. Ida has no idea what just happened, and Kuro just slips away and sits in the back of the class. He doesn't even have a book, so a girl named Sato sitting next to him gives him hers. Noguchi glares at them, obviously jealous. Then, a red light, a laser, shines on his face. It's a signal that ninjas use to communicate. Kuro gets up and walks out of class. On the roof, a guy named Shion, a high ranker who was there the day Kuro took out the Russian guy, is waiting for him. Just like Kuro, he's also an undercover ninja whose mission is to find the underground ninja group. There's also a third ninja in disguise, the school's disciplinary director, who tells Kuro to meet him in the boiler room after class before disappearing. Kuro then sees Ida is in trouble again. He makes his upper body invisible and puts a box over his head before going over there. One of the bullies kicks him to figure out who he is, but Kuro makes him fall. He then stands behind Ida and holds his hands, making him punch the bully. This way, Ida gets all the credit, not Kuro. Afterward, Kuro heads to the boiler room to meet the director. The director suddenly pulls out a sword and attacks Kuro from behind. They both think the other is an underground ninja. Kuro blocks every one of the director's attacks. When he realizes the director isn't part of the group, he tells him to back off, saying that his satellite is aimed at the director and can take him out in a second. But the director laughs at him, saying a low-class ninja like him couldn't possibly have access to a satellite. Then, a laser from the satellite cuts the director's sword in half. The director realizes Kuro isn't messing around, and Kuro walks away. Outside, Mitsuki, the most popular girl in class, is waiting for him. She smiles at him in a strange way and walks off without saying anything. Nearby, at a store, the sensor door opens and closes on its own after a customer leaves, as if an invisible person has entered. The stuff on the shelves starts flying everywhere. The woman working there, who turns out to be a ninja, tries to fight back, but is killed by the invisible person. Suzuki gets a message that her ninja mentor has been murdered, and then she's attacked herself. She realizes it must be a guy from the underground ninja group because they have suits that can make a person completely invisible, unlike her group's suits that only make half a person disappear. The invisible guy then grabs Sato, who's on her way home from school. Suzuki warns the guy not to harm a civilian, and he tells Suzuki that her death isn't fated to happen there, but at Kodan High School. Meanwhile, Noguchi is in her room thinking about Kuro. She can't get him out of her head and is even dreaming of a happy life with him. Then we see Kuro sitting at her bedside in the middle of the night, staring at her. He tells her that a ninja at the store has been murdered and he's afraid the underground ninja gang is about to attack. He says a huge battle is about to break out at their school and tells her not to go for a few days. Then, without another word, Kuro jumps out the window and vanishes. Afterward, we see a guy named Saruta running like his life depends on it. A ninja star suddenly chases after him and lodges in his leg, making him fall. The invisible guy chasing him asks Saruta if he wants to join the underground ninjas. Saruta agrees in a second, saying he loves killing people, and asks who the target is. It's then revealed that the invisible ninja who's been killing everyone is Saruta himself. The next morning, a student is on his way to school when Saruta, still invisible, beheads him in one motion and takes his body. Despite Kuro's warning, Noguchi shows up at the school, looking for him. The director sees her, and a flustered Noguchi spills everything, telling him Kuro said the school was going to be destroyed. The director realizes the battle is about to begin. He gives Noguchi a ring and tells her to give it to Kuro, that it's super important and she needs to find him. A little while later, Saruta brings the student's headless body to the classroom. He's still invisible when the body drops right in the middle of the class. A panic breaks out, and Saruta starts taking out students one by one. Some manage to escape, but he chases after them. Suzuki and Shion quickly get the news that an underground ninja is causing chaos at the school. Suzuki sees all the bloodshed with her own eyes. She pulls out her stick and the killer takes off his invisible suit and his mask. Saruta tells her she probably recognizes him from when they were in school. He says he had a big crush on her, but she just made fun of his love and ran away. Filled with rage and hate, Saruta goes wild. The two fight in a super intense battle. Suzuki is faster, so she's almost winning. But she didn't realize that Saruta's suit can absorb electricity, so her stick has no effect on him. Just as she's about to lose, Kitio crashes through a window. It's almost impossible for Saruta to beat him, and he knows it. He puts his mask back on and vanishes, but Kitio's not worried. He slices his arm at lightning speed and throws his blood at Saruta's suit. marking it so he can be seen again. Ketio lunges at Saruta with his sword, but Saruta's advanced suit inflates like a balloon to protect him and he gets away. Meanwhile, Noguchi is still looking for Kuro. She runs into a scared-looking Ida, who tells her that he and another guy went with Kuro into the tunnels, where there's a rumor of a path to an underground bunker. He says he and the other guy chickened out, but now he's worried about Kuro. Inside, Kuro finds a girl. It's Mitsuki, and she's the one who planned this whole thing. She's way more powerful than Kuro thought. He throws a bomb at her, but she's suddenly hanging from a wall with just one finger. He then throws 2 high-voltage cables at her, but she grabs them with her bare hands, like the electricity has no effect on her. Saruta is walking around the school when Shion shows up. Shion draws his sword and starts fighting Saruta with amazing agility. Shion cleverly smashes some glass on the ground so he can see where Saruta is. His teddy bear also pinpoints Saruta's location, and he pins him against a wall. Saruta is seconds away from being killed by the satellite's laser, but he escapes just in time. Shion chases him to the roof and catches him. Shion goes in for a killer blow, but his sword goes right through the suit. Saruta has disappeared. Saruta suddenly attacks Shion from behind, breaking his sword in half. Shion is a better fighter, but the underground ninja's weapons are way more powerful, and he gets a bad cut on his shoulder. With only half a sword, a hurt and scared Shion is about to lose. But Ketio shows up and runs his sword right through Saruta, ending the fight and saving Shion's life. Down in the tunnel, Kuro is losing his fight. He knows it's impossible to beat Mitsuki because she's too powerful, but he wants to know what she's after. Mitsuki finally tells him the truth. She intentionally spread the lie to lure all the ninjas to the school so they'd activate the ninja laser satellite. She and her crew hacked the data and found the satellite's location. Now, one of their guys in a special suit that works in space has already made it to the satellite. Mitsuki then unleashes a powerful attack on Kuro. He's doing everything he can to defend himself, but he's really just biding time for his friends to show up. Then, Noguchi and Ida arrive. Noguchi gives him the ring the director told her to give him. He puts it on and its antenna pops up, and a drone flies in with a sword. He takes the sword and kicks up a cloud of dust at Mitsuki before going in for the attack. They fight again, but Kuro realizes it's dumb to attack her directly. He has to use a sneak attack. His invisible suit is useless because it only makes his upper body disappear so she can still see him. He runs through a bunch of scenarios in his head, but in every one, he gets killed. Finally, he knows there's only one way to win. He goes in for a brutal, full-on attack without any regard for his own life. His sword goes right through Mitsuki, and her sword goes right through him. He pulls his sword out of her, and she falls to the ground. Kuro, already at his limit, stumbles and collapses. Noguchi quickly picks him up, and they get out of there. The underground ninja guy gets into the satellite and uploads a virus, taking control of the entire laser system. He turns a dial, and the power goes to the max. The laser targeted at the school gets bigger and vaporizes the entire building. The explosion shakes the underground bunker, and it starts to collapse. The exit is far away, and a badly injured Kuro and Noguchi try to get out. Kuro knows they're not going to make it, so he takes off his invisible suit and covers Noguchi with it. All the rubble starts to fall on them. A few moments later, Noguchi crawls out, saved by the suit. Kuro sacrificed his life to save the world, but at the very end, we see Kuro's twin brother show up to meet Noguchi. If you liked the video, like it and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next one.